I usually don't even address a whole lot of these celebrities. So with this whole Jada Pinkett thing going on, I'm going to focus on the person who has the real problem, and that is Brother Will Smith. I say this because a lot of your anger, if you really look, not too deep inside, but a lot of your anger could not be against Jada Smith. It could be because Will Smith won't let Jada Smith go. By all of us knowing how nice of a guy Will Smith is, just like anyone else in your life, you don't want to see potentially good people suffer abuse from people who are just outright just evil. Now, people may say, well, are you judging Jada Smith as being evil? I don't have to judge her at all. And if so, so what? I'm gonna do what I want. But the bottom line is, the only way that you can distinguish if a person is living on divine principles and principles of evil, you have to look at their actions. It's never what a person says, it's what a person does. Now, the reason why that other video was before this one, and I used that same video before another video that I made, that was a video that I took back in 1996 with my two sons. My mother took that video at a place where I used to work called Sunset Park out here. I was 270 pounds on that video. Now, for a man who's only 5'9", 270 pounds is absolutely a no-no. Absolutely. That's a recipe for heart disease, which runs through my family. It's a recipe for diabetes, a whole lot of different areas, even including in-time knee replacements. And so I bring that up is because one day I went into the restroom to take a shower, and we had this huge mirror. It's like a mirror where you can stand in front of it and you can see your whole self in it. And when I removed my clothes, you know how before you step into the shower, you just casually look back at the mirror. For a second, I thought someone else was in the restroom with me. And then, I looked back and I did like this, because I thought for like a fifth of a second, someone was in the restroom. And then I looked back again and realized that I was looking at myself. And I stood in front of the mirror. Now, for a man who's been a martial artist from 7 years old and a boxer from the age of 14 all the way up to the current, even back in 1996, I saw somebody I didn't recognize. And it was because it was the person that I was with who stressed me out so much with disrespect. You couldn't do anything right. Everything you did was wrong. Everything you said was wrong. She was sleeping around with people at her job. She was sleeping around with so-called family friends. It was just too much going on. Sleeping on the couch. It had gotten to the point to where I came to realize all of this was going on before my sons. See, now at that time, when I came to that perception that all of this is going on before my sons, I was in the hope mode. I hope this will eventually end. Now, hoping that something will eventually end, that implies you're not doing anything to stop it. And why is it that you are not doing anything to stop it and you're left with hoping that it stops? Is because you don't have enough love for yourself to stand up for yourself and just end it. End it. So when I looked in the mirror at a 270 pounds David, I broke down and I cried right there in that restroom. And I said to myself, she's killing me. She's killing me. She's killing me. And then we eventually broke up. Now, I bring all of that up is because I want everyone to understand, and a lot of you already understand. No one on this planet is enabled to love you more than you love yourself. And sometimes to come to that conclusion, one has to suffer immensely. You have to suffer immensely. So we broke up because I decided that it was best for myself. Now, the problem is with a lot of people when they break up with someone in whom they are still very deeply in love with. Because I had 2 children by this woman, and we were together for 8.5 years. And you know how people say, as time goes on, people grow apart. I wasn't one of those type of men. When I love someone, it's 100%. And as the years go, my love increases. It's just that when you're with the wrong person, in spite if you have children by them, it's going to have a profound demonic effect on you. It is. And the reason why I say demonic effect is because you're going to stop caring about yourself. Hold on, let me back up. You're going to stop caring about yourself. You're not going to start eating right. You're going to not eat right. You're going to see your organism swell up. And simply because you're under a relationship and an environment that is profoundly abusive, verbal abuse, some little physical abuse, unprovoked. You're bad mouth to everyone and you're not doing anything. You never can do enough when you're only doing what is best simply because of the economic limitations that were set before you. And so once it gets to the point to where this person not only disrespect you, but starts disrespecting your mother is a bitch and all of that, you know what? Yeah, I believe it's time to move on. I mean, all of these different reasons come to you. And so you sit back, you lay down one night, and you say to yourself within your mind, what type of person would be the type of person to where you would totally be in love with them? You write this list down in your mind. She would have to be respectable. She would have to be compassionate. She would have to be respectable, passionate, loving, gentle, feminine, caring, that whole list. And then what you need to do is put the person's name to the side. And then you honestly ask yourself, within this whole list, can I connect this person's name to that? And if you cannot connect their name to your list, then it means you really don't love this person. And once you come to the conclusion that this person is nothing of what that list consists of, then who has the real problem? Is it that this person just doesn't love and respect you? No, the fact is you don't love and respect you. And that's critical, because if you remain in a hostile relationship and it's affecting you in such a destructive manner, then intelligence is going to eventually have to come in and tell you, look, you need to go. Now, in spite, if that is your family, what good are you there if you are allowing all of this to go down in front of your son? What are you doing there? Is that helping you? Is that helping them? No, it's not. Because your children don't need a father who does not love himself in order to put his foot down or even put his foot in somebody's ass because he's trying to get his house in order or keep his house in order. What type of example are you going to be to your sons if you allow their mother to just kick you around and lie on you in their presence, and they're picking up all of this false information in their heads about you, of course, while you're gone? What are you going to do? You have to do the ultimate sacrifice, and you have to love yourself enough to get out of that environment so that you can find yourself again. Underneath all of that 270 pounds, underneath all of that hurt and humiliation, you must find yourself again. And when you find yourself again, then you have to grow to love oneself again, but on a whole different level. It's like Yeshua says, you must be born again. And so when I got out of that situation and I went through a 3.5 years of hurting, continued abuse of my sons being held back from me for absolutely no reason, and I wasn't the one that was causing the conflict. 8.5 years, I didn't mess around at all. I went back and forth to work, and I did the best that I could in regards to the limitations of this economic system out here in Las Vegas. I did the best that I could, and it didn't work. And so I had got to the point to where I came to understand, if I don't love myself, no one else will. You know, it's easy to say God loves you, Jesus loves. That stuff doesn't mean anything to me. That means absolutely nothing to me. As I said before, if you do not love yourself and act upon that, you might as well be dead, or just stay there and just rot, because that's nothing but an environment that is equivalent to a prison cell in prison, if not isolation itself, or solitude, or whatever they call it. But you have to love yourself. So I bring all of that up because this whole Will Smith and Jada Pinkett situation, you can be mad at Jada all you want, because to me, Jada is wicked. She's wicked, but it's a lot of wicked people out here. Jada ain't special in that particular area. She's not special. Jada's just a celebrity, and she has enough celebrity status to put her wickedness in the media. She's an actress, the same as Will. And therefore, why is everyone so angry and feel as though they have been lied to? Look, do not forget, these people are actors. These people are actors. And so what is an actor fundamentally? Someone who is a professional liar. They have the ability to turn themselves into anything and act accordingly to the degree you are convinced that they are in fact this way. This is why a lot of people said to Denzel, "Ooh, I hated you in that movie. I hated you in that movie," when he was just playing a character. So the proper way to address that to Denzel, that character that you played in Training Day, oh man, I hated that dude. Separate Denzel from the character. This is what a lot of you are missing. When Yeshua came up to people, like the young man who was possessed, as they say, he was possessed with anger and all type of demons were inside of him. Yeshua didn't come and condemn the young man with what had him captive inside. He spoke to the demons and he told the demons to leave him. Leave who? Him. Leave him. So when Jada gets up there and she talks about a marriage that she was actually forced into, and yet and still she still cooperated on behalf of her mother's influence and enforcement, of course this was going to come out bad. See, this is another thing you guys are going to have to understand. Well, I don't like what she's doing to Will Smith. She would not be able to do this to Will Smith if Will Smith was not doing it to himself. He's doing it to himself. Will Smith can actually leave. Damn near every woman on the planet would love to get with Will Smith. Maybe, for his money or whatever the case may be. But that man would never be lonely. I would just say that. He just so happened to think that he is in love with a woman that he really can't stand, and she can't stand him. So there's some it's like when Jada has said that she had made a promise of where she was going to go through thick and thin in order to keep the marriage together. And then when she got to the point to where she was getting ready to actually divorce Brother Will Smith, she could not bring herself to do it. It means that these two are emotionally attached to one another. And therefore there's some fear of feeling the pains of separation and the aftermath of the pain of divorce. This is really all this is. So Jada can be who she is. And no matter if she's with Will Smith, Jada is going to be Jada, because obviously that's who Jada is. Now people say, well, she's still in love with Tupac. Study. Tupac and Jada Smith was never in love. As a matter of fact, from her own words, she had said when her and Tupac had kissed for the first time, when she said, let's just give it a try and kiss. Okay, I don't know what the conversation was before that, but it does imply that they had discussed a possibility of starting a relationship. And it also implies that they were such good friends and companions, intellectual companions, and they love the same things. Obviously, they talked about a possible romantic relationship. And so they also knew that you can't have a relationship with someone without having some type of physical thing between one another. She had also said that when she would look at Tupac, he wasn't necessarily the type of brother physically that she would get with. So obviously, Will Smith was. So they were never in love. When she's talking about what they had together was a very close friendship. It was platonic. It was a very close friendship. Now, this stuff about Tupac had proposed to her for marriage, that's just hearsay. I'm not even going to get into all of that because that's not what this video is about. Okay, that could mean anything. Now, as far as the letter that she put on display that Willow had wrote, that doesn't imply that her and Tupac had a relationship, a romantic relationship. They were intellectual companions and they loved each other on that particular level, because Willow has said, come back because mommy is not happy. So obviously, as intelligent as Tupac was, whenever Jada was having her suicidal, thinking her mother was on heroin, as Tupac's mother was on drugs and heroin, whenever she felt like a certain way, they would sit and they would talk and they would encourage one another. I mean, you have to read into these things. And so that is the type of relationship that they have, according of how I'm reading it. Now, Will has an ego issue. I say that because when he called her, he asked her, who are you seeing right now? And she said, I'm not seeing anyone right now. So what does he say? Does he say, have you, would you like for, would you be available for me to take you out? Or would you mind going out with me? Have you ever thought about me in that way? No, he didn't say that, like Chris did. Like Chris Rock. When he called Jada, he asked her, so can we go out? Are you free to go out? He didn't say that. Will didn't say that. He just said, well, you're seeing me right now. And so she said, okay. And she said that was kind of sexy to her. But we're not talking about her. I'm talking about Will right now. So he said, well, you're seeing me right now. So this is the narcissist. I'm God, you do what I tell you to do. This is what's going to go down with you. So Will thought that he was God of that particular situation. And she submitted to her God. And she got with him. And then a lot of sex was going on. As I said in another video, sex is only sex. That's it. It's a physical act to where you get pleasure from it. Pleasure and satisfaction does not equal love. Love, you build that outside of the bedroom. This is what a lot of us have failed to understand or failed at the elders never telling us and explaining things to us in regards to how sex is the least important thing of a relationship, the very least. And so I feel as though after the sex and all of those things were pretty much done, then they had to deal with each other, honestly. And that didn't go too well because they both had issues. And so they started to act upon what they picked up from the past of a whole lot of unresolved issues. And you cannot respond to one another adequately if your actions and your thinking are rooted in the past of where you have plenty of issues in important areas that have not been resolved. So I go to Will Smith. Okay? I'm just speaking hypothetically. If I go to Will Smith and I have a hot cold, I use this all the time, and I put it in Will's hand and it burns Will. He said, hey, this is hot. See, Will can blame me, but if Will continues to hold on to that hot piece of coal, then the fault becomes Will for holding on to it. You know, Brother Malcolm X had said, if I come up and I push you down, you can blame me for that. But if you choose to stay down, then you blame yourself, not me. So what is going on right now? A lot of us are caught in the crossfire of two people who are emotionally attached to one another, who are incompatible. So you have Jada Pinkett with her little wicked and conniving, you know, in her warped state of intelligence, doing her thing. And you have a Will Smith who doesn't love himself enough to let go of that which is causing him pain and humiliation. Now, she said herself, there was a divorce, but it wasn't on paper. I recall a lot of people saying, what is she talking about? Okay, look. If you go to the Bible, yeah, I'm going there, in the book of Genesis, when Eve was manifested, the Creator basically was letting Adam know, this is your wife. There was no ceremony, okay? Becoming someone's wife did not become a legal thing until Rome came in and they established their system to where everything had to be on paper. But the marriage vows go, do you promise to love, honor, and, you know, all of those divine principles that are based upon promises? Do you swear to love, honor, respect, and obey? See, if those principles are not maintained unbroken, then there is a marriage. If one of those principles have been violated, you're no longer married, because one of those principles have been violated. This is what she's talking about. She's talking about there was not a divorce paper-wise. There was a divorce based upon the principalities of marriage. That's pretty much what she was talking about. And you remember when she at the red table had accused Will of doing the same thing. You see, what a lot of us are caught in between the crossfire of a couple that is immensely incompatible. And you find yourselves arguing all over social media. And for what? For something that is in fact none of your business, but you became a victim of it, you thinking that is your business by way of the exploitation that Jada is doing to Will Smith, and how he helped exploit himself when he sat at that red table and allowed himself to cooperate with her and her intentions. But to Brother Will Smith, you will be fine, bro. You will be fine. Now, a lot of people may say, you're scared to divorce her because she's going to take half or even more than what you've earned, bro. But don't you forget who you are. You are Will Smith, bro. You Big Willie, regardless of what other people say about you. And I know that Hollywood is waiting on you, bro. Hollywood is waiting on you. Don't you forget how much wealth you have brought Hollywood by way of your success on being who you are. So basically, what am I saying? What am I saying? Your only setback is you not loving yourself to let what is hurting you go. Once you let what is hurting you the most go, you watch how Hollywood is going to be on your phone, calling you. Because I wouldn't be surprised if they already have projects just sitting there waiting on you. And the reason why they can't put you to work right now is because you're not in your right mind, bro. You are not in your right mind. You know how the Bible says, once a man finds a wife, he has found a good thing. Bro, you didn't find a good thing because you played God. You didn't allow the Creator to send you a wife or make one for you. You chose your wife. The same way she chose to bite that apple. And let us be clear. I'm going to throw this in right quick. When the Creator told them, you can eat of any tree in this garden, but do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. When she lured herself away from Adam, and she came up with the slick talking serpent, which symbolizes these brothers that talk that language, that game, that women love, how they say, you ain't got no game, deception. You ain't got no game. He told her, oh, you can go ahead and eat from it. You be just like God. You be God. You be independent. Then she said, no, we were told not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We were told not even to touch it. And the Creator never said anything about not touching the tree. Now, people may say, no, that's what she meant. She meant that, in order for you to eat, break that, you have to touch the tree. But that is not what God said. He said, don't eat of it. He didn't say, and don't even touch it. So what did she do? She exaggerated what was said. And when you exaggerate the truth, then it's no longer the truth. It becomes a fabrication of the truth. Just like what she's doing right now. It's her nature to do what she's doing. And then when you listen to her, when Adam listened to her, he became corrupted as well. The same way you listened to her and you sat at that red table. And you helped her exploit you without her even thinking of how is this going to affect her children. But everyone is waiting for Big Willie to return. We waiting for you, Will. We waiting for you because we love you and we still believe in you. But you have to start loving yourself, because you are not going to be worth any given part in your life until Will Smith begins to love Will Smith once again. To where Will Smith's love for himself is going to be his primary protection in order for him to keep rising in Hollywood and make us laugh, make us smile again, bro. You ain't dead, bro. Will Smith is not dead. You're not done. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. And don't be afraid to feel some pain, bro. Don't be afraid to feel some pain, because you see, she's not. She already said in the interview, you know, I haven't been able to get rid of him since. Now, most people may say, well, you know, that's what people say. You know, she didn't really mean it. She was just clowning. If it came out of Jada Smith's mouth, she meant it. And she knew that if she said something like that, that was going to upset people. She's playing mind games with all of you. But I'm talking to Will Smith. Hollywood is waiting on you. You have a lot of parts coming your way, bro. And you better believe when you get yourself together in terms of loving yourself effectively and sufficiently, that whole 10 years that they imposed on you of being expiated from the Oscars, you watch them void that. And just some advice. Why don't you and Brother Chris Rock resolve your differences and put y'all heads together and star in a movie together and blow Hollywood completely up with y'all performances? You can do it. You can put your anger to the side. You can put your embarrassment to the side. You can put your humiliation to the side. And you have to understand how humiliated and angry and embarrassed your brother Chris Rock was that night, because he meant no harm. He's a comedian. He meant no harm. You know, a lot of that was some issues that him and Jada haven't yet resolved. And I believe she spoke on that. But I'm talking to you, Brother Will. Everyone is waiting for you to do what is right for yourself so that you can begin to love yourself again, bro. The same way I fell in love with myself and I got that 270 pounds up off me, bro. I started dressing good, started looking good, all of that. You can get yourself back and better. I promise you that. Without a doubt, bro. We waiting on you. So with all that being said, hey, bro, you stay human and you begin to love yourself again. And you do what you know you need to do in order to get back on top. Everyone have a good evening. Brother Will Smith, get it together. We're waiting on you, bro. We're waiting on you. Peace and love to you, bro.